Hello everyone and welcome to episode 7 of the Erskine Arts podcast. If you've missed any of the other uploads, please do check them out wherever you are: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever else podcasts can be found, podcasts. If you are listening and you're on YouTube, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll be notified of any other uploads. If you're on Spotify or anywhere else, subscribe or follow or whatever the medium is. So tonight we have two of our very own young people down. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And we have Mr. Toby Messenger down.
Hi there. Hello.
Thanks for coming down.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
So, bit of background. Also, this is not our usual mic setup. If you're listening, it's a wee bit different. We've got an event on tonight. So a lot of the microphones are way out, so we're trying to make do. So excuse any background noises that you may hear. We already had to start again due to something. So yeah, there's a project that EMMS and Toby are going to do together. I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about it, discuss a little bit about Toby's background, what it is Toby does, and what our project is, and kind of what the future plans for it is. So it'll be a relatively short podcast just to kind of get out there and give a bit of advertisement. And if you're listening, you really want to get involved in it, please do let us know, either on our Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else you can find us. Even here on YouTube, send us a message. Can you do that on YouTube?
No.
You can.
Well,
You can. You can leave a comment.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Tony, hiya.
Hello.
Do you want to start off by letting us know a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background and what it is you do?
Sure. I'm an artist, visual artist, primarily drawing and painting. But my work sort of morphed from just making things that primarily you hang on a wall to pretty much putting them on the floor and kicking them about until they sort of make the right configuration.
Yep. So we'll go in a bit more detail about what that actually means. So we kind of first were made aware of Toby and what Toby done as part of the Paisley Youth Arts Festival in the Pop Space in the Piazza in Paisley. Shout out. So Toby's exhibition there was called The Grand Parade of Lifeless Packaging, and for those people watching on YouTube, here's the poster of it. If you're on Spotify, skip over to YouTube and subscribe and like and comment. There it is. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what that installation was?
Sure. Essentially I was commissioned by Kate Drummond to make a teenager's bedroom out of recycled cardboard. She'd seen a previous exhibition I'd done in the Trongate foyer space where sort of made a similar sort of thing, but it was really just me for the first time trying it out, I guess. And I'd made various objects like record players. I'd drawn sort of my entire girlfriend's 7-inch collection, so they called that piece 83 records. So it's a big sort of composite wall piece consisting of 83 individually drawn 7-inch records, which sort of a bit of a head. And then just various other things, like things you wouldn't necessarily associate with drawing, but it was sort of on the floor. So a bit of a rug, a pile of books, records, a sponge, making the materials that were making the object. So I made pastels and a box of pastels, and people were like, "Is that a real box of pastels, or is that?" And it just kind of, I enjoyed that kind of that. Is that real or is that not real? And a radiator and a sort of what do you call them? A plug switch and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, it really is uncanny valley. When we were in the exhibition, it was like a teenage bedroom. It was like, this is it. I think when we first came in, we weren't quite sure what it was made of.
I think the fun initially is when people walk in and they walk past it thinking, why is there just a pile of stuff on the floor, and you sweep it or kick it, or just kick it out of the way. And then they walk past again and they go, oh, hang on, and then they start to clock it, and then they go, oh, wow. And that's sort of the fun of it, really, just sort of tricking the eye. But it's not photoreal as such. It's quite, some of it is actually quite badly made. I think it's a bit like a sketch as opposed to a finished piece. It's playing with that kind of, it's
because it's not often you see art, and it is quite sketchy, but in a 3D environment that you can walk around makes it quite unique. Stand out. What we noticed, I think, myself and Craig and the young people, we had a retro games thing going on in the Pop Space too, which you enjoyed. Yeah,
it's quite good.
So we were next to the exhibition, and what we kind of noticed was it was very music focused. Is that inspired from your upbringing yourself?
Yeah,
or?
to some degree, because I'm not a musician myself, but I've always had an interest in music, sort of moving from sort of rock and indie to sort of house music. So, I did that thing. I bought a pair of decks and then I've become a bit of a record head. So I'm collecting a lot of vinyl over the years, still obsessively trying to find tunes from my sort of late teenage years and things like that.
Try to source them again.
And, almost the joy of it is, there's a thrill of the chase, isn't it? And then when
No,
you get
absolutely. I've got most of my... I don't have a good, incredible amount. I've got maybe just over 300 records, but the majority of them are like dance, house, 90s, noughties kind of singles, just singles. So I think what struck us for it was everything that was in the bedroom was stuff that reminded us maybe of our own bedrooms, or very cool. Specifically, physical music, records. Massive hi-fi systems, turntables, decks, keyboards, just kind of listing stuff off now, which we thought tied really in nicely to a project that we are planning to start in the start of 2020, which is our music club, which is getting our young people to really celebrate and appreciate physical medium of music. So going out and having as you said, the thrill of the chase, having that experience of buying a record, and it's more than just the album, it's an experience to buy it. You open it, there's always a lot of effort put into artwork in most records, and it's an experience, it's a thing, and I think it's something you're actually both quite keen on. How many records have you both got? I know it's not loads and loads, but you have started, haven't you, buying stuff?
Got about 30.
It's not bad, man. What's your favourite? Let's name one. What have you got?
Meat is Mod Dog, the Snaps. Meat is Mod Dog. Joys and Active Resistance.
Nice one. What about yourself?
Do Little by Pixies.
Nice. Bit of Pixies. Have you not got more than that for Pixies?
I do. That's my favourite.
You went to see the Pixies?
I did.
Enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played not long ago. When was it?
September.
So that's something we're trying to get into. So we thought, this is a massive opportunity to kind of like work in partnership. So I think we kind of spoke to you very, very briefly, but I know you already had some kind of plans of stuff you would like to have made.
Yeah, well, I think it's fortuitous. Like with the bedroom, I wanted to do a bed piece, to what we explained earlier, but we were interrupted. But again, I sort of after that, I was thinking I'd really like to make a sort of a live band stage environment. So I wanted to make the drum kit and the guitars and the amps and the microphones and everything else, all the detritus, like crushed cans of stuff and fag packets or anything, whatever you were riffing on the idea of it as well. Just the, but also just the idea it's just an idea. And then I was speaking to you in the pop space, and you guys seemed quite interested to kind of
definitely. And it was more than us. It was all our young people as well were coming up and like, oh, this is really cool. What is this over here? And even asking about some of the albums that there was a lot of albums you had drawn and recreated as well. Presumably a lot of your favourite albums, or
well, some of it was quite random, and also just sort of what fitted relationally within the work. So it was kind of I need a red record sleeve over there, so I had to just choose something that was red by the famous band Red. No, but but there were albums that I like, because Craig really liked the sort of Jesus and Mary Chain Psychic Candy, which I just had a quick listen to the other night again. Just working to that, which is a brilliant album. So some of it's fairly kind of not necessarily thought about too much. It's just I need something in there.
Yeah, certainly very eclectic, because there was a few different.
There was a Pop Will Eat It self poster on the wall, but that was mainly because I wanted a yellow poster. And happened to have a yellow poster.
So we brought Toby down. I wasn't present myself, but this is where maybe you can kind of chip in a little bit more. The fear in the eyes when I said that. To talk about with the young people, we had met with Toby as staff to chat about some ideas, and you came down and spoke to our young people. And what happened that night? Tell me, as someone that wasn't there and is told very little.
I can't even remember.
It's a good start.
Toby came down.
What kind of stuff did you talk about?
I can't.
I don't think we talked about.
You didn't talk about much.
No.
So when we met with Toby, there is actually young people here. If you are watching YouTube, you can see them. When we were speaking to Toby, so obviously as you were saying there, you had ideas already, but you really wanted to make a drum kit and
Yeah, that's my next. I definitely want to. I
and
totally
guitars
wanna make
and
yeah.
all the kind of music stuff. And you're thinking, well, why don't we do something a bit more than?
Yeah, more immersive, like introduce sound and some other kind of visual.
Yeah,
elements
so
to it,
as
to make it more, something
a full
full
sensory experience.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I was going to say for all the senses, but I don't know where taste kind of comes into it. But as a kind of music studio, we've obviously dabbled in creating sounds and stuff. So I think the idea of having, wherever it may be, an immersive space where you're walking through like a venue almost, with sounds of the venue. Sounds of the venue. That's not an album you'll probably get.
So ambient sound, is that the right term? Just the sort of background. The
Yeah. I like atmosphere of, and maybe having different nods to famous musicians and things that are very
Well, that
unique
was your
to
idea,
them.
wasn't it? Would have a rack of all these guitars.
And the guitars would be like the ultimate gigs. So we could have like Van Halen's Frankenstrat. That's all the famous guitars in my mind. B.B. King's 335 or whatever it is.
Prince's.
Of course. Oh well, there you've set yourself a challenge with that. The crazy shapes. Page's double neck. I'm just trying to think of the hardest ones to make now.
There's a double neck. Craig was saying we had a 12-string one with a 6-string.
Yeah,
but then they're not. I mean, it is just cardboard and drawing. You're not. If you want a guitar, you buy a guitar.
Oh no, absolutely.
We're just making useless objects to look at, which really have no function
other than to look at.
Making people
It's
laugh.
not often you get to walk through or get to be immersed in a space where the art is three-dimensional though, and you can walk around it.
I don't. There are a lot of installations. I mean, I was just at a show today in the project room that a girl had done exactly that.
Presumably Glasgow.
In Glasgow, yeah. Really nice show. Just she was just drawing from the landscape, and quite a morphix of objects, but it was certainly you could walk around and
that's cool.
Really sort of look.
I've changed that to there's not much in Renfrewshire.
Oh, fair enough.
We have the kind of access to.
I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be great to make something definitely immersive that would sort of pull people in and engage them with art, I suppose, as well, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Art can sometimes be seen as... art's obviously such a wide spectrum of things.
Yeah.
But we talk about visual arts, and our last podcast, which you should check out with FK Alexander. FK is a performance artist, and we're saying that sometimes these fields of art can seem quite unapproachable for a lot of people.
I'm the same. Like going to gallery spaces or going to openings is a terrifying experience. And I think everybody you meet who's an artist will say going to openings is a terrifying experience.
Yeah, so I think it's really nice that we're doing this with young people, to make it more accessible. It's something, unfortunately due to space tonight, we've had a few young people that couldn't come down. They wanted to be in the podcast, but it shows that there's a real interest and a real. Sorry, I've got a lot of burps happening here. A lot of indigestion. So I was trying to say, a lot of passion from the young people to want to be part of this and get involved with it. That's like news to you. Well, cool. That's really good. Yeah, we had a few knockbacks tonight. We had to hold them back. What's the other? What else have you got here?
This was just a poster for. I'm not plugging my next show, but
no, please do.
It's just some. I've drawn like over 212 inches from my record collection.
Oh my god!
Well, it was actually going to be in the old hairdresser space, but that's just the poster for it. But
so let's see it over here.
I'm going to be doing a sort of a show in the Trongate space in February, so I'm going to have a massive wall composite consisting of over 200 of these.
Oh, that's fantastic,
things, with some kind of other element. But
please do come over to YouTube if you're on Spotify or anything. It's the only place you're going to get to check these out. Unless, of course, if you go to the old hairdressers on Sunday the 26th of January, then you'll get to see them. You'll get to see them in person.
That'll be a work in progress for what's happening in February. But I think the idea is I just wanted to make a massive composite drawing, and it's a perfect format because they're all squares and 12 inches. So.
No, definitely, it's really striking as well, and it's going to remind people a lot of the records they used to listen to or maybe still do. And
I mean, that's the thing though. Like, I think a lot of people think that records, it's in the media, like they talk about records being redundant or it's making a comeback, but they never went away with me because I was into DJing house music, so it's not. I know a lot of things now you have to get as an MP3 format.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like the record is not an outmoded thing. Cassettes, yes. CDs probably, but records are very.
Yes, cassettes isn't something we ever touched upon, really, but not records.
Have you ever touched cassettes? Is that a thing? Or
Yeah, I've listened to one, but
One fabled cassette somewhere. Do you
Yeah.
remember what it was?
it was some woman. It was like really old.
At least it narrows it down.
Yeah.
I never had much cassettes. I'm not obviously, I was going to say I'm not old. I'm not much older than, I suppose, you're 25. But I remember having a few. I had really horrible cassettes. I had Yellow Submarine.
Oh, right,
Yeah, just as a single and a cassette. I remember it really vividly because I remember hating the song and still hating the song. And I also had I think it was like a best of kids. It was like Hi Ho Silver Lightning and all that on cassette, but not something I ever dabbled in. But certainly records is something that's always, it's a big experience. It's something we're going to get into. Moving on. Oh, hi. What else?
I was just about to say.
Go for it.
Just to cross my mind, just flashed in front of me. That an artist that anybody should look at is just really interesting. Is an outsider artist called Mingering Mike, who's great. Yeah, it's an odd name. An American outsider artist who's created this whole. Back in I think the late 60s or early 70s, he created this whole fictional. It was him, but he just drew his own album covers, and he actually drew the records inside, and he slotted the records inside the album covers. And it was, I think he'd lost his whole collection he'd hand drawn, and they'd all had titles, and there was even a final sort of live sort of gig LP, and it was only rediscovered because someone was trawling through a record market in New York, I think at 5 a.m, and discovered this, because he was a big soul music fan, and he discovered like this artist he'd never heard of, and then he pulled the record out and he discovered it was cardboard, and the guy had even drawn in all the record grooves, and he had the kind of spacing of the record grooves roughly the timing of the tracks, and he has even some sort of home recordings of him singing some of the tracks, and it's only just been sort of rediscovered and regrouped. I think he had a big show in the Smithsonian Museum in America. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but he's definitely worth checking out because it sort of talks about, I think it shows the creativity, the potential of I think it's just using cardboard and felt tip pens and stuff like that, but he's created this whole fictional environment,
this whole reality
for him, and I think some of it was just sort of escaping some various things that happened to him or whatever, but it's absolutely, honestly, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's totally worth having a look at.
What was his name again?
Mingering Mike.
Mingering Mike. So
Yeah.
check that out if this is something you think you're interested in, and please, if this is the kind of whole point of this kind of shorter podcast with Toby is to really advertise what we're planning to do,
course,
and that wasn't like I taking it away from Mr. Mike. But if that is something you're interested in, even looking at his work, if you're wanting to get involved in it, please do send us a message. I think I said this on the first attempt we done. I don't think I repeated it. Please send us a message on Facebook. It's just Erskine Music Media Studio, or here on YouTube, send a comment or a message or whatever you can do. And please do try and get involved with it. The more people have involved, really, the merrier.
Yeah, definitely, because it'll bring more ideas, I think.
Definitely, yeah. So this is by no means something that you're going to come into and it's like, this is what we're doing. It's a closed thing, and
no. I think that just the very nature of it as a process, it's quite open. So you start with one idea and then it will slowly shift and become something else. So,
and I see next to you have an example.
This one I made earlier. This is actually not a great example of my oeuvre.
It's pretty good though, by
it's
the way.
just a cardboard guitar, and it's just cardboard and glue and.
See if you just
short
lay it down
plastic.
here, I think that'll be in shot.
It's a bit wonky.
Uh-huh.
My girlfriend had a replica. Is it a Gibson guitar? Am I right?
Yeah.
And which she hates because it always goes out of tune.
That would be a Gibson, Les Paul.
Right, fair enough. And I was just riffing on riffing on just the kind of general, what do you call that, the body, the
body.
the
Yeah, you're certainly not a musician, are you? Let's hold it up a little. Can we put it on its side,
sure.
just so that the camera, I know the neck's a wee bit
Yeah, next bit.
going in it.
So it's very, very sort of rudimentary. Rudimentary, is that right? Very sort of just really cardboard glue, pound shop tape. The only expensive things are the chalk pastels. But
I mean, there's certainly. I think you're a bit too harsh in your work, maybe, because I think it's excellent, and I think there's really such a vibe. Like if it was perfect model, I don't think it would be anywhere near as exciting to look at.
Well, I've always treated them as draw the way I treated drawing. I'm just
because it looks like a sketch.
Sketches, yeah. And the way I make them is fairly direct. I'm not, I'm just kind of it's bodge. It's the way I'll make anything. I'm not. It's not pre-planned. It's just get stuck in,
Yep.
And it either works or it doesn't. Yeah.
I think the charm of it's there because of that exact process. As I said, I think if it was like exact replica of something, you know, it wouldn't have the same sort
there'd
of.
probably be no point making because
You just get the guitar.
Get a guitar, yeah. I mean, I suppose the fun of them is that they are totally useless. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing myself. I'm just accumulating all these stupid cardboard objects, and then I have a show and I stick them in a crate and leave them in my bedroom.
That's what I was going to say. What happens to all the kind of installations you do?
I'm sort of holding on to them for now because I'm
Even the bed.
The bed's it's just folding up.
Oh really?
Because it's a duvet, and then it's just
of course, like a bed.
So a lot of it's flat pack. Yeah.
Flat pack bed.
Flat pack bed. Yeah.
Very useful.
Yeah, it's just I'll reuse some of it, and then some of it eventually. I think it will just kind of disintegrate, and I'll just make another. I used to be when I first started making this work, I was quite precious about it, especially leaving it out in the exhibition spaces. But I've come to realise that it has a kind of life, and then maybe you show it a few times, and then you just sorry.
We'll bleep that out.
Well, you just make a new one, and by that time you've sort of got enough distance to know that you can make something better. And
Have you got any pieces that are amongst the first sort of pieces you made? Is there anything you've still got that was like
I keep everything. So, but
do they last reasonably well?
Well, depends. If you keep it covered up and don't move it, and
it'd be great to do an exhibition of all of it. Just everything you've got.
It would be fun, yeah. But it could just become too confused and sort of. I think it's better to have. There's an old art teacher, a friend of mine, reminded me of the artist Kurt Schwitters, who created this thing called Merzbau, which is a nonsense word, and it's to describe this sort of abstract environment he made. I think there's only one remaining, and it's in a university. I think it's in Newcastle. I might be wrong there. But he was like. Is a foremost sort of modernist artist exploring using collage as a medium. So he's kind of sort of forerunner to what I'm doing. Other artists as well, like Kurt Schwitter, Kurt Schwitter's obviously Robert Rauschenberg, all these sort of artists that have used these materials. But, there's a huge timeline behind what I'm doing. It's kind of
absolutely.
And then even just the objects and these humorous aspects, like Klaus Oldenburg, who made these great big soft inflatable hamburgers, which I don't know if anybody knows. They're brilliant. I mean, he's brilliant artist.
I've not seen them.
But again, quite fun, really engaging.
And accessible as well.
Yeah. Not kind of like sort of. Yeah, anyway, I'm not.
Not slagging on them. Someone might be listening.
No, I'm
describe it right away.
I'm into kind of
like a tin of beans on a chair.
I'm all for a tin of beans on a chair. Sometimes things. I think it's interesting how.
Well, if it provokes any sort of thought, then I guess that's part of art.
I mean, it's that whole discussion about you take the objects and the function of the object changes when you take it. Gallery, blah blah blah. I mean, but that's part of the fun of this. You're taking kind of quite mundane objects and sticking them in a gallery space, and it sort of changes their meaning a bit as well. And people,
definitely.
So you draw attention to just the kind of things that are around you. That there's a potential in everything. So we're sitting here, and you think, well, nothing arty here, and then you think, well, there's a headphone, so let's mix it. So it's
it's like turning the mundane into
just
art.
Just sort of kind of learning to see more, and just kind of, and the more you see, the more you see, the more you do, and all that sort of the usual constable.
Yeah.
Turn 360 degrees, and you've got enough to last your lifetime. And these cheesy quotes that get banded about when you're at foundation art course.
Again, plugging it again, please, folks. If you are interested in getting involved with this, get in touch. We're going to be in contact with Toby for quite a while, working throughout this. What is next on your radar? Is it the drum kit, or what have you been working in? Anything?
Well, I've finally kind of figured out. Well, that's really bad. I've made some record 2 decks where they now spin.
Oh, excellent!
It's really bad. I mean, it's like really, it's really bad.
I had a record player like that.
And then I've got a really rudimentary sound piece of just the record scuffing the end of the record.
Nice.
So that's for that will be the hairdressers. I hope to just have quite simple, just the kind of just the sort of records and just the sound piece and see if it works. Even because I've never really incorporated sound before, because I've come from just drawing and painting and it's all just very flat.
Aye.
Whereas now this is all a bit
all a bit 3D,
all a bit 3D,
all a bit real. What sort of feedback have you had from people in kind of any of the exhibitions? What sort of kind of
really good. They're like kind of totally different to. I mean, I didn't know what to expect when I started doing it, because it was kind of felt like I was going out on a bit of a limb from what I was doing. and it just slowly developed. Like the first thing I ever did was we just had a Christmas show in our project room space, and I had some objects that I put into the show, and I went down to install them in the space one evening, and the chap hanging the show, a guy called Colin, he'd left the spirit level out on the chair, and I just had this moment of like mad, oh brilliant. So I thought, what I'll do, I'll go and make a cardboard spirit level and replace his spirit level with a cardboard. So he'd come in the morning to finish off his show and then pick
It's
it
like
up.
the ultimate prank.
And that's exactly what I did. So and it's just sort of spiraled from that. And just they liked it. I think it's just there's an immediacy possibly, and I'm not claiming it for it to have any kind of real artistic value even, but it's certainly fun for me. Just sort of.
Well, you say that, but obviously that's up to the people. I mean, Craig, I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but I think most people, especially for the one we've seen at the pop space, like myself, are saying this reminds me of, my bedroom.
Yeah.
Or I think Craig had a really interesting way of viewing it, of stepping into someone else's world,
yeah.
which I never really thought of until he said it, which I thought was really interesting. It's kind of like you're allowing, instead of a 2D thing, you're allowing yourself, like watching TV, you're actually allowing yourself to step into somebody else's world, which is an interesting way.
Which
of
to
thinking
some
about
extent,
it.
I guess you can do in a lot of people's paintings, isn't it? It's just I'm just taking it into the space.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I couldn't do it in my painting. I've decided to.
Did you find it really nerve-wracking the first time you done an exhibition with this style?
I was quite excited by it because it was in the. I did it with my friend Jim in the foyer space in Trongate, and
Cool.
It turned out to be the perfect space because it was kind of nestled underneath the sort of stairwell, so I had a kind of, you could sort of walk up the stairs and look down on it, and it just
Right, nice.
right, yeah. It was more nervous to the logistics of getting it there in one piece and unpacking it, and then just reconfiguring it because I had it worked out in my head as to where things would go when I was making it in my studio or my flat, or whatever. But then, getting it to space, and then suddenly, right, you've got a day or so to, get it all set up, and suddenly it's a bit. But then people start sort of walking past, go, oh, this is okay,
Definitely.
So, but it's. I think the thing is, you look back and think, well, things can always be improved upon as well. Like I look back there and I think, well, that's actually some pretty ropey things in there, which I'd never. And I let it evolve as well, so I was adding things to it, and it just got very cluttered, for which I apologise for. And people would sort of walk into it, and then it would annoy them. So it was up for a month, and I think at the end they were quite glad it all went back to it.
Kind of going off a little bit off point. I'm going to ask. Well, I mean, we're talking a lot about music. Obviously, this project's say music is art anyway, so it's very music focused. A lot of the stuff we're talking about. Quite intrigued to find out favourite artists, favourite bands for all of us here. And I'm going to start with Mr. next to me here, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah.
So what we want, top 3 artists.
Top 3 artists.
And maybe a couple of your favourite albums.
Okay, I'll do my top 3 artists.
Nice and loud though.
Okay, number 1, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I think you've let us hear that before. Them.
They're really cool.
Him. Them.
It's like 7 people.
What kind of music's that?
I don't know, it's really weird.
Is it rock?
Kind of.
Right, number 2. I didn't expect that as number 1.
What's it? Idols, probably.
Idols. Nice one.
Like,
number 3.
Black Midi, probably.
Who?
Black Midi.
I don't know them either.
Should be
Is it
out,
on
yeah.
in the group?
Yeah,
You put
it's
it in
like
the
the
group?
one that's like all like they're just like rubbish, and it's like the green at the top.
See the band where it's just all rubbish? Is that the cover art?
Yeah.
Alright, I think that was the tracks.
No. Okay.
Is that the one that had quite mad sounding?
Yeah, it was like math rock.
Right, okay. I think that was actually quite cool.
Yeah, it was
You've had all that time to think about it.
I know, it's
No.
terrifying.
It's fine. I like put people on the spot, you know what I mean? Bit of sweat.
Favourite band, probably Green Day.
Green Day.
Yeah.
Nice one. Classic.
Then Pixies. and
Cool.
Don't even know.
Don't even know. You like Marilyn Manson? Do you?
I wee bit.
A wee bit.
Not
Just
like-
trying to think of stuff you've maybe shown before. Any favourite albums, particularly between you? Anything you've loved start to finish?
I can't even like think then.
There's a couple of Blur albums. From, like,
Ah.
the start to the end.
We put them as number 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You have brought in a few Blur albums, I even forgot about that.
Yeah.
Did you say Pixies? You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Toby? Or just any artists that are like...
I think my one of my favourite bands when I was younger was Ride, and their second album, Going Blank Again. Because
Cool.
just when I was 15, I think. So that was just, that was an album I listened to obsessively, and then went out and sought out all their other.
Yeah.
But then
What-
they went off the ball a bit, I think. So.
I've not heard of them.
Oh right.
What kind of got you into house music?
Well, I just found it. I was kind of listening to kind of jingly jangly, rather morose indie music.
Aye.
And I started to find this stuff on the radio that's more uplifting. And he used to, when I first heard, I think the Prodigy sounded quite alien. But then my brother on the car stereo one, I think he picked me up from school and drove me home and sort of just put on, "Have you heard of Sasha?" And he just like, "Whoa, who's Sasha?" And he just played this sort of Renaissance Volume 1. It's really sort of melodic pounding sort of progressive house, and it's brilliant. So that kind of got me addicted, and then just sort of listened to Pete Tong and Danny Rampling back in the day.
All it takes is one track, isn't
and then
it? really?
just started recording off the radio and making my own mixtapes, cassettes, and and then I think like I had like my life savings, I just kind of, I think after my first year at art school, I just bought a pair of decks on mail order and just infuriated my mum and dad all summer learning to mix.
Did you do like gigs as the DJ?
No,
then? Or was it
well,
more in the bedroom?
I did one gig with an old friend at art school. We just sort of packed out the sort of ground floor of the old Vic Bar in the art school.
That sounds amazing.
That was great fun. We just made all the sort of we just made posters and flyers and
a couple of mashups, you know.
yeah. It's I mean, that was it. I've never made any claim to being any good. I'm just,
Doesn't matter as long as you're having fun. Do you know what I mean? It's the love for
it's
it.
quite cathartic, therapeutic, and then I just like, you hear DJs, even Jodie Westenoff. I like listening to SoundCloud mixes. Just quite nice, deep melodic house, and I just quite like finding out what it is and then getting it and then
Absolutely.
having a bit of a play myself. I'd
That's
like
right.
to make it I don't have the time or patience and the resources to even know how to make music. So I've tried, but the technology is beyond me. So,
It is difficult.
it's very difficult.
Some people have a
The
knack
software,
for it.
Yeah. I think I'm too long in the teeth.
No such thing.
I'm too old.
Well, thank you very much
That's
for
right.
coming and speaking to
Thanks
us
for
today.
listening to my rambling.
Not at all. This is a super exciting project that we're all
Should be fun, hopefully.
really psyched to be part of, as Craig would say if he was here. Shout out to Craig. Again, if anything we've said interests you, please get in touch with us if you want to get in touch. Where can people find you, Toby, if you want to get in touch? Have you got any social media? I know you're just coming off as saying you're technophobic, but
I'm sort of on Instagram, but I don't really
very passively.
very passively. I'm just usually found in a studio in Dongate.
There you go. Have a walk about Glasgow, and if you pop it, that's how you can get in touch. Or if you have
I'll just
any
get in touch
burning
with Craig,
questions, get in touch with
Yeah.
us, and we can get in touch with Toby. And
I have a website, but it's not up and functioning yet. So again,
we'll update the description of the podcast.
I'm pretty bad at all the
Social media side.
the technical stuff.
Right, thanks again for listening, everyone, and thanks again, Toby.
No
and
problem. Thanks.
thanks again, young people. See you later.
Cheers.